As we come to the end of 2023, I want to bring to your attention and to highlight what different organizations have come up with their word of the year. We're going to highlight a couple of different organizations, what they really think was the most important thing to be able to say that this was the most powerful word that encapsulated what occurred in 2023. So I'm going to go over them and then give you a bonus one at the end. The first word of the year comes to us from collinsdictionary.com. The word of the year that they came up with was simply AI, which makes sense because that is very much the most impactful thing that has occurred, not to belittle any of the major events that have occurred around the world, all the different conflicts, all the different situations. But as far as a major impact of dealing with the progression of education and the world, AI is definitely up there. Here they've termed it as AI, a term that describes the modeling of human mental functions by computer programs. Considered to be the next great technological revolution, AI has seen rapid development and has been much talked about in 2023. And here they put in AI, an abbreviation for artificial intelligence, the modeling of human mental function by computer programs. Yeah, I would totally agree. It's been much talked about. That's been somewhat of a focal point here within this channel, but throughout campuses around the world, I've been able to go and give presentations to many different universities, as well as webinars to many different universities. And yeah, it is the main talking point. Why? Because it can have such an effect on the instructional process, on the teaching and learning. The next word, which The Economist has put together, is ChatGPT. They wanted to go with something else like a generative AI or something like that, but it's very interesting in what they've expressed here is ChatGPT. ChatGPT as their word of the year, which makes sense since ChatGPT is really what catapulted everything else. Everything else, since it was somewhat secondary as far as pushing it out there and becoming super famous, now they're sort of the second version, as opposed to ChatGPT really being the first major publicized, open to everyone AI that everyone could definitely get their hands on and really use. So their idea here is that ChatGPT has become somewhat of a word that describes AI, sort of like Kleenex means facial tissue and Xerox means a paper copy. So now the word ChatGPT has become somewhat as a synonym for generative AI. I would tend to agree. In many of the places that I've been to, people just use ChatGPT when they mean, oh yeah, generative AI. All the other ones, since there's like 20 or 30 other generative AIs out there, but the word ChatGPT sort of is an encompassing thing that is a synonym for just generative AI in general. The next one comes to us from the Cambridge Dictionary. Here, their main word of the year is hallucinate. And they've classified hallucinate in the context of what we're talking about as being a verb, and specifically meaning when an artificial intelligence hallucinates, it produces false information. And this is very true, and something that is a fundamental aspect of the generative AI, in that it can fill in information so it comes across as a hallucination. Again, not as a way to try and deceive you, but just as a way to address what was being asked. So this hallucinates part is definitely part of AI, specifically generative AI, because of the way that it's put together. Now, there's lots of different companies that are working on different things to try and address and overcome this. And even ChatGPT, its different large language models that it's using has become better and better, meaning that GPT-3 is much worse and does much more hallucination than 3.5. 4 is much better and hallucinates much less, but there's still work to be done. So they're trying different components, different ways of addressing it. Some research are talking about how hallucination is fundamental to the way that large language models work because of the predictive aspects of how it's putting in words. Regardless, it's being worked on. So we can expect and hope, and we should be demanding better generative AI models in the future. Dictionary.com also came up with hallucinate as their word of the year. Dictionary.com is used by, I would say, a majority of people, And so this is important to see that, again, they're also looking at AI as being the most important thing that has occurred, with hallucinate as this powerful word within that. Now, they've described hallucinate, again, as a verb of artificial intelligence to produce false information contrary to the intent of the user and present it as if true and factual. That's an important part, that it presents it as true, right? It's confidently presenting this information. It's confidently hallucinating. So that's really something that that we really need to make sure that we are telling our students about, and making sure that they know that it could be false information that comes out of working with generative AI. So they have to be aware of that, which leads to the final word of the year, that is my word of the year, right? And it's actually two words, of course, which is AI literacy. I believe that that's the most important thing that really needs to be addressed for this year. Yes, AI would be my top thing overall, but within that, the major component is AI literacy. Our students must have this information. We need to develop it within ourselves, and we need to continually develop that within our students. So we have the four basic components here of awareness. So this is a critical awareness that AI is all around us and is affecting all of society in many different ways. We have capability, meaning that we start to understand what the generative AI is capable of and how we can use it, how we can manipulate it, how we can use it to our advantage. So that means we have to develop these capabilities, these skills, things like prompt engineering, as well as just being able to understand what the different systems do and then being able to use it effectively. We also have knowledge that AI is being used by students, by faculty, by businesses, by competing businesses, as well as other governments as well. So we have to have this knowledge that it's being used, and then knowledge about how it's being used. Of course, we have many, many beneficial ways that the AI is being used, as well as other ways that aren't so great, such as to create deep fakes or for scams. So of course, we need to be aware of that and teach our students about some of the nefarious ways that AI could be used. And then finally, of course, critical thinking, the most important part, right? Because in that encompasses so much. We have to have the students know about those other words like hallucinate. We have to have students understand that the AI isn't perfect, will never be perfect, and always need to be critically evaluated. That has to be a thing that we maintain, that we continue to push, that we continue to realize. And as AI becomes used more and more, we have to understand that over-reliance on AI could occur. So we have to fight against that and make sure that we're not losing skills without us knowing it. We can release certain skills if the AI is good enough for those things, but the human always has to be in the loop in some way. So those are important aspects, along with things like understanding bias, understand the ethical use of AI. All those different things are encompassed within AI literacy, which is what I'm pushing for as the overall word of the year. What's your word of the year? What do you think has been the most important and impactful thing dealing with AI or dealing with anything else in education? What should be the word of the year as far as you're concerned? I would love to know your opinion. Please put it in the comments. Please let everyone know so we can have a discussion and really think about this and see what should be the most amplified. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. Hope everyone's had a great holiday time and will be enjoying the great new year. Thank you. And remember, learning is for life.